All right, good evening, guys. Welcome to OpenLine. Matthew Torres here. We're talking about child passenger safety. This has been a knowledgeable experience so far, especially for me and hopefully for you guys as well. So 615-737+ if you do have any questions or comments. But for Angela, you know so much about car seats. I do want to know, how often do they test, these companies test how safe the car seats are? Well,
they do it quite often, and they have to meet what we call Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards 213, and that set forth, each car seat company does their own testing, and they have to pass a rigorous test, making sure that their car seats are available for market. All the car seats on the market today have met those federal guidelines, and they set them themselves by way of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So parents can ensure any car seats that they pick up in the store have met those that federal guideline that is set forth by NHTSA. Parents need to, the most important thing, when they're choosing a car seat, they want to make sure that that car seat is user-friendly. So I always tell parents a $40 car seat will perform just as well as a $500 car seat. And there are $500 car seats that are out there. It's all about how you install it, making sure that you do it correctly. You have the Pinto of car seats and you have Cadillacs of car seats. But going back to the basis is making sure that you're using that car seat according to those manufacturer's instructions.
Does safety, does it equal with how much? For instance, I guess people would think the more expensive it is, the safer the car seat.
No.
There's no truth to that.
No. Like I said before, you know, I taught differently when I had my son, and I really have access to any car seat on the market, but I just use a regular old car seat, $40 car seat, and it works perfectly. You're using it according to that vehicle manufacturer's instructions, that car seat manufacturer's instructions, and it's going to perform like it should in a crash. Parents can get that peace of mind by seeking out, you know, a child passenger safety technician. I talked about it before. These professionals have gone through a 4-day course, and I know you're thinking 4 days, car seats, are you serious? But it is an intense course. We go in depth with crash dynamics. We have hands-on skills evaluations, and so they know a lot about occupant protection systems that are in the vehicle, different features on car seats. And then at the end of the week, they actually get to put those skills to use with real parents and real children that we have not paid, and they get to tell what we call tech talk, and they explain to parents about how to use their car seat. The philosophy is learn, practice, explain. We want the parent to learn the skill, practice the skill with the technician, and know how to explain what they've learned to everyone that is involved with the transportation of the child.
You mentioned making sure that you're comfortable with the car seat.
Yes.
But there are also different types of vehicles. Not everything has features as far as when you go through a car. I know you wanted to talk about just the what ifs. I don't have this. What ifs?
Right.
This isn't here.
Yeah. So what if I?
Which seems to be like a laundry list. Now that I think about it.
So what if I find a car seat at a garage sale and I want to take that car seat home? Is that okay to do? Well, you have to be careful. They have to have the manufacturer's labels. You have to have the instructions for that car seat so you know how to properly install it. You need to make sure it's not cracked anywhere, that there's not a history of it being in an accident, which you may or may not be able to know, so that you may not know about the integrity of that seat if you were to be in an accident again. And really, I mean, that's why the seat is there. So if you're in an accident, you have the best possible safety around your child.
Does it lose quality if it goes through some type of crash?
It can, yeah. So you know, most of the car seats are made out of molded plastic, and so there's stress that's put on those. So depending on how large the impact was when that car seat was in a crash, it may not hold up in the next crash as well as a brand new car seat that didn't go through that stress.
Car seats do expire.
It seems like everything else.
Yes, most manufacturers are doing a very good job of putting an expiration date on car seats. But if an expiration date is not found, then parents can count 6 years from the manufacturer date. And after that, the car seat is no longer good for use. And like she said, stress marks, the wearing and tearing on it from using the seatbelt system could cause that.
When is it the appropriate time, the booster seat? That conversation.
So that child needs to be usually over the age of 4. We used to say 4 and 40 pounds, and usually at least age 8, but now it's a height requirement of 4'9" before they come out of the booster, and that's because of the height you need to be in order to be sitting and have that shoulder belt fit you properly when you're in the car. So every child under the age of 4 should be in a 5-point restraint, preferably backwards until they outgrow their car seat. One other thing that Angela had brought up too, though, is about grandparents and other caregivers for children, making sure that they understand how to install that car seat, because they're just as likely to be in an accident with your child, and you want to make sure that they're using that car seat the way that it's intended to be used.
So I'm going to bring this up, Dr. Goodman. She mentioned just the grandparents, and it kind of brought, because the idea of the potential of raising the driving age of 17 years old. I know there's a lot of people also questioning whether or not a certain age, as someone gets older, if there should also be a limit to that. What do you think about that?
Well, certainly the most dangerous people are the 16-year-olds, and then a little bit less the 17s, and the people we know pretty well, some people in Europe, and as much as we have a son-in-law from Ireland and a daughter-in-law from Slovenia, and they're appalled that we let 16-year-olds get behind the wheel and drive independently. And I think every country in the European Union has the minimum age of 18, and even after that they have to put this tag on their car that identifies themselves as a student. So we're you might say lagging there, but there again, I like to be I am an incurable optimist, and I like these.
We need more of you around, now that I think of it.
I like these figures right here, but
what is
fatalities in Tennessee, children up to 8 years, it starts off in 1994 with 42 fatalities, and it steadily goes down to 9 so far in 2018. So I think that says something that we're doing well, and you may know here in Tennessee, back in the 70s when we had 12 or 1,300 fatalities of total, every age group, the governor's highway safety office thought it would be near impossible to ever go below 1,000. And you may know we've achieved that most of the last 10 years. We've come in under 1,000. And when you imagine the increased number of people that live here and multiply that by the number of miles driven, that's how I'm arriving that you're 3 times safer now to drive a mile in Tennessee or in the United States than we were in the 1970s.
Well, hey, look, we went well below 1,000, clearly. I know we have a caller right now. Hey, Jeff, thanks for calling. What's your question? Hello, Jeff, are you there?
Yes, please.
Hey there, what's your question or comment?
Well, I mean, I'm old, okay, first of all, okay? And then I want to say we rode in the back of pickups, back of station wagon. We were not strapped down at all, okay? We did. We're adults now, okay? Now, we're trying to protect children. Yeah. I'm trying to figure this out, okay? Because, like, we're trying to protect children, we're strapping them down. And then you talk about, like, the age of the children, how much they weigh, you know, how tall they are, and placing them in a child seat, okay? We literally crawled around in the back of a pickup. Thank you.
Times have changed, for sure. So it seems like how he grew up back in the pickup, and now we're talking about restraining children in back seats.
Yeah. So the people who I also remember laying in the back of the family station wagon in the 70s. My mother hopefully is not listening to me tell that story. But the people who can now say that they did that survived that to be able to tell the story. So the people who died.
So would you identify him as a survivor?
He's a survivor of those circumstances. So the children who died as a result of riding in the back of a pickup truck or in the back of a station wagon. We're not so fortunate to be here in 2018 to tell the story about how they did it and survived. So what we know from the studies and the data and the safety data that has been looked at for 40, 50, 60 years is that this is the safest way to make sure that children don't die and that adults don't die from motor vehicle accidents.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying, convenience, how they were taught, I'm sure, and back of the pickup, I mean, you don't see that often just around the city, but I would think more in a rural area, but still.
Right. I just want to just kind of let the caller know that, you know, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, child safety seats reduce the risk of serious injury by 82%. So, and fatalities by 28%. So those are really big numbers. And just to kind of talk about the evolution of car seats and vehicles. Vehicles are not made like they were back in the day. You know, in fact, now they're designed to save our lives. And most people think when they're in the fender bender, they get their bumper, you know, thrown off. They think, wow, you know, my insurance is going to go up, or, you know, this was a small crash. But car seats now are designed to crush easily, bend easily, to absorb the energy in a crash. And we call it riding down the crash. It gives the occupant time to ride down the crash. So all of those forces that are given off on a crash is absorbed by that vehicle. They designed it to bend and buckle and take all of that energy that would have been placed on the occupant. So by the time those crash forces do get to the occupant, it's not as great as it used to be. So we kind of have to be thankful for just the overall evolution and technology that we have today. I mean, we have lane chain assist, and we have backup cameras now. So all of these things definitely assist with making us better and safer drivers.
Dr. Goodman, I want you to weigh in on what the caller said. We'll have, when we come back after the break, we'll have much more Open Line when we return.